Tonight we have a very special tribute to the great bird of the galaxy, Gene Roddenberry. Gene was an award-winning writer and producer who created and executive produced such shows as The Lieutenant and Planet Earth. But it was Gene's show that premiered on NBC September 8, 1966, an iconic and groundbreaking science fiction drama called Star Trek that would change the genre forever. Star Trek starred William Shatner as the courageous and handsome Captain James T. Kirk, Leonard Nimoy as the stoic and logical Mr. Spock, and DeForest Kelley as the ship's Dr. McCoy with his fatal catchphrase, "He's dead, Jim." Every week, the crew of the Starship Enterprise would take us on a trip through the galaxy to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Gene Roddenberry created a future that was filled with curiosity and hope. Star Trek was a metaphor for the universal message of peace, justice, acceptance, and equality. And there's no better time for that message than right now. Sadly, Gene passed away in 1991, but his memory will live on in our minds and hearts as one of the greatest writers, producers, and visionaries of our time. We're going to start the celebration by honoring Gene tonight. Let's start by hearing from Gene himself from an interview from 1966.
I was a freelance writer who got tired of writing scripts about nothing at all, and I began reading science fiction. And among the science fiction I read was The Swifts, about the Lilliputians. And I began to see from that you could write about something in science fiction. And so I dreamed up the Star Trek idea so that I could comment on man and society. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. They thought that I made it too complicated. They felt I had offered them a wagon train to the stars, which I had, because I wanted to sell it. And Westerns were very big at the time. And I felt that I'd double-crossed them. I'd written them this thing about where the mind went in certain ways, and they wanted someone with bare knuckles in a fist fight. They turned it down, but they did like some parts of it. The first time they said they'd ever felt like they were truly in a spaceship. And they turned it down. They said, now, if you will really give us the equivalent of a Western, we can put you back to work on it. So we made them a second show, which had a lot of science fiction elements too, but at least it ended up with Bill Shatner in a bare-knuckle fist fight. And I thought it was a terrible idea, but it worked and it met their needs, and that started us. We sold Star Trek with it. When I was trying to find a name for Nichelle Nichols, thought of the Swahili for freedom, which is uhuru, and decided to feminize it, make it uhura. I was pleased that in those days, when you couldn't get even blacks on television, that I not only had a black, but a black woman and a black officer. And that'll show them. Paramount said, we will back you in this, and by God, they did. And I've had nothing but good treatment out of them. I do feel sometimes they were nervous about giving the keys to the asylum to a writer, but despite their nervousness, they stood true to their word, and I really respect them and thank them.
I had the pleasure of guest starring on an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, the first of many television series and motion pictures to follow the original series and continue to expand the immense and timeless Star Trek universe. I am forever grateful to have been brought into the Star Trek family and work with some of the most talented actors, writers, producers, and industry professionals that helped make Gene's vision of the future a reality. And now, we're pleased and excited to have a very special message from Gene's son, Rod Roddenberry. Please help me welcome my friend and executive producer, Rod Roddenberry.
Thanks, Jeff. First, please let me start by saying thank you, Jeff Rector, for doing this, and of course to the Burbank International Film Festival and everyone who's on the board and has tirelessly spent years making this film festival happen. Thank you so much for honoring my father on the year leading up to his 100th birthday. I've been asked many times what it is about Star Trek that has kept it around for almost 54 years now. And I certainly don't have all the answers, But I can tell you that Star Trek has always been certainly more than science fiction or just a TV show. It's been a philosophy. It's been an idea of a better future that resonates with people back in the 60s and, of course, 70s, 80s, and all the way up to today. This idea of a better future has been necessary each decade since, and no small way critical nowadays for us to be looking at the future in these optimistic ways. You know, it wasn't a ship that was going out looking for strange-looking aliens. It was a ship filled with diverse people from a planet who had come together because they no longer feared the difference between us. In fact, they had learned that it was the differences, the uniqueness between not just our form, our physical form, but the uniqueness in our ideas that made life interesting, that made life worth living. The ability to see something and learn something in a new way is what allowed us as a species to grow and evolve intellectually. And so we weren't just looking for strange aliens, we were looking for creatures, people in the universe that looked at the universe in a different way, something different than ours, because we knew we could learn from that unique perspective. So that is the ultimate backbone idea of Star Trek, which is put into the idea of IDIC, IDIC, which means infinite diversity and infinite combinations. And while Star Trek was a complete collaboration with so many people making it what it is today, I really love and honor and cherish this idea of IDIC, which my father instilled into Star Trek. And it is the backbone of Star Trek and the philosophy behind it. And I think that is what resonates with so many people today, so many people who are forward thinkers thinking about what could our future be? And wouldn't it be great if we had a future where we all worked together and unconditionally loved one another and had empathy for all life on Earth and life beyond Earth? That is truly what resonates with me and what I think has kept Star Trek around for 54 years, and I have no doubt will keep it around for another 500 years. So to everyone who is honoring my father tonight, I greatly appreciate it. I wish you all unconditional love, and I say live long and prosper, and Dad, happy 100th birthday.